Environment Council, as well as the administration's efforts to boost tourism. As different sections of the executive arm of the federal government are now defending the 2017 budget proposals before the National Assembly, new details are emerging on the continuation of the social investment programs of the Buhari presidency, including a plan to hire 350,000 more unemployed graduates under the NPAR Volunteer Corps. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to the President, Office of the Vice President, Laolu Akande, says the President Buhari's administration has requested appropriation of 157.75 billion naira in the 2017 budget estimate for the NPAR scheme. While urging Nigerians to take advantage of the different schemes this year, Laolu Akande observed that the NPAR is just one of the many social investment programs that have so far drawn the interest and praise of Nigerians across board, adding that a lot more is to come. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has renegotiated its deep offshore rig rate from a staggering $580,000 to $164,000 per day, saving the country a 71.7% cost of executing a similar operation in the past. Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji reports that the Chief Operating Officer, Gas and Power, Saidu Mohammed, who represented the Group Managing Director, Dr. Meikanti Baru, stated this at the 14th Annual Aret Adams Memorial Lecture. He declared that the various reductions served as an incentive for investors to grow reserves, increase profitability, and improve return on investment, adding that they also boost government's revenue.
Successfully renegotiated our deep offshore rig rate from a staggering $580,000 per day to $164,000 per day. Likewise, rig rates per day for both swamp and land operations have also dropped by over 35%.
Chairman of the Aret Adams Foundation, Mr. Egbert Imomo, said Nigeria should position itself for the future by finding more oil and producing it. This year's Aret Adams annual lecture series is the 14th, seeking to immortalize the lofty ideals of Godwin Aret Adams, who was former GMD of the NNPC. Utterances devoid of hate or inflammation by both religion and traditional rulers are a recipe for further entrenchment of peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. This was the thrust of a one-day peace and security conference organized by the Northern Youth Wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria in conjunction with Christian Youth for Peace and Development Initiative.
And we have resolved that none of us should be seen speaking and saying something that will create tension and religious disharmony. We have agreed on that.
With that dialogue, we cannot achieve anything.
If people like Onayeko and Sultan Abuja preaching this, I think that will go. We need a multiplication of this type of people. The leaders must be able to come out frontally, because all these young people follow what the leaders say.
Youth should begin to lead from now. They need to develop peace-building skills.
Well, as part of fulfilling its mandate, the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative distributed food items to 6 states of Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Taraba, Bauchi, and Gombe. The gesture, which is at the instance of the chairman of the committee, Lieutenant General T.Y. Danjuma, had the internally displaced persons take home rice, beans, millet, and vegetable oil.
Today we are starting the project, and we are moving materials to Madagali, Michika, Hong, and Gombe. And the next consignment will go to the other 3 local governments, that will be Mobi, North, Mobi South, and Maiha.
Well, that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues after the break with Blessing and Kingsley.
you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain, fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
So what's up, sweetheart? You really look like you're up to something.
I have a secret.
Okay.
I'll be going to Europe next week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like you have your visa, your passport, your plane ticket?
No, not that way. Some men are helping us. We pay them, they take us through the desert, and then we cross the sea into Europe.
The desert, the sea. Isn't that the route where many have died?
Yes, it is indeed a very dangerous journey. In 2016 alone, 4,900 people died while crossing the Mediterranean Sea to enter Europe. Many were Nigerians. For the very few who survived the journey, they are forced into prostitution or other crimes just to survive. Eventually, they will be arrested and deported to Nigeria. Don't be a victim. Don't go this way.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. Time for the business reports, where Amina Nojin will tell us more about Nigerian having the reason to smile following the recent success recorded by the nation's oil sector.
Nigeria plans to sell 3.22 billion naira of short-dated treasury bills at an auction on March 1st, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. It plans to raise 26.14 billion naira in a 3-month debt, 62 billion in 6-month bills, and 222.08 billion in 1-year notes, using the Dutch auction system. Payment will be due the day after the auction. The Central Bank of Nigeria issues treasury bills twice a month to finance the budget deficit, help manage commercial lending liquidity, and curb rising inflation. Annual inflation in Nigeria climbed to 18.72% in January, its 12th straight month rise. The trend was worsened by dollar shortages, which has crippled the import-dependent economy and triggered the first recession in 25 years. The government is also facing funding challenges due to low price of oil. It expects the budget deficit to widen to 2.36 trillion naira this year as it tries to spend its way out of the recession. In other business news, the unit technical costs for producing oil has dropped from $70 per barrel to $27 per barrel. Mekan Tibaru, the group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), made this revelation, stating that this development has been monitored from 2014 to 2016. He said with record cost of production, government's share of economic revenue will improve, which means reduced budget deficit, adding that Nigeria will no longer import petroleum by 2019. Nigeria reportedly had the world's third highest average costs at $28.99 in 2016 to produce a barrel of oil or gas equivalent in 2016, only behind the UK and Brazil. A recent decline of attacks on oil infrastructure in the Niger Delta region is also said to have helped strengthen the Nigerian oil production, which now stands at 2.2 million barrels per day. And in the equities market, a total turnover of 765.656 million shares worth 9.717 billion in 12,468 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange, in contrast to a total of 1.073 billion shares valued at 8.608 billion that exchanged hands the previous week in 14,486 deals. Nigerian Stock Exchange settled at 25,250.37 points and 8.738 trillion naira, following a 0.62% decline of the equities market on Friday. Next is a graphic summary. And that is business news. I am Amina Nushain.
Thank you very much there, Amina Nushain, for the business package. Next for us now is a look at the headlines in some of today's newspapers.
Yes, welcome Bayo Toyebi, who's already seated for this morning's review. Good morning to you, Bayo.
Good morning, Blessing. Good morning, Kingsley, and good morning, Nigeria.
Bayo, a pleasure to have you as well. We hope you had a nice weekend.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, so let's begin by taking a look at the front page of This Day newspaper. This Day newspaper, the lead story says it's on the economy. As CBN pumps another $221 million, analysts expect US dollar slide to 400 naira. That's to say that CBN pumps another $221 million. Analysts expect a slide, the equivalent the exchange rate to 400 naira. Nigeria eases entry visa for foreigners. Details of that story can be found inside. Now, there are other stories on the front page. Let's go to the top above the nameplate of This Day newspaper. You'll see the headline there. AMCON scales down ARIC's operations. With a rider, airline enjoying public confidence, corporation insists. That's to say, AMCON insisting on the benefit of its takeover. PDP defeats APC in Abechi's constituency. Details of that story can be found inside. That's page 16. And also there on the front page, DSS arrests Suswam after raiding his home. Recovers arms and 21 seals of oil, 23 luxury watches and keys to 45 cars. And those are the front pages from This Day this morning. Listen.
All right, from the Nigerian pilot, we have the following headlines. Just below the nameplates, of the visa review from Nigeria is what you find on the left-hand corner. Nigeria reviews visa processes for tourists, investors. That's what you find on page 7. And the story on business, Bank of Industry projects 1.150 trillion naira funding for MSMEs in 3 years. That's what is trending on page 40. Leading for the Nigerian pilot this morning is out of the Forex story. New Forex regime, global rating agency, experts hail CBN. With a rider says it will ease foreign currency liquidity pressure. That's where it's on page 4. And the story of DSS nabbing ex-governor Suswam with a rider, recovers arms, others hidden in Abuja premises. Rivers election was relatively peaceful. This is coming from INEC. Obasanjo thumbs up Buhari's anti-graft war. That's what you find on page 6. And this other stories too on page 6. You find Nigeria still needs Shagari's counsel. Prayers at 92. It's coming from Senate President. Abducted Germans regain freedom. That story too still trending on page 6. To page 5, you find Nigeria hosts Africa as AMA beckons. Of course, that was the other Africa's Movies Academy Awards that comes up every year. Okay, Bayo, let's have you come in.
The good news is that the two Germans archaeologists who were doing their research in that they've been working for over 10 years in Kagarku local government area. They are working in relation with the Nok culture. They are archaeologists, and it is an exchange program with the University of Frankfurt. Governor Nasser El-Rufai has praised the vigilance of the security agencies for getting them released. There is no information whether any ransom was paid at all. However, the positive information about the appreciation of the Naira has led to even global agencies now praising the initiatives of the central bank that is currently shoring up the value of the Naira. As at last weekend, it was 445 Naira to a dollar. And like you read earlier on, is targeting towards 400. And so gradually, it's gliding down towards the 375 that has been projected in the 2017 budget. Well, there was rerun election in Rivers, and it was for HA local government area, for House of Representatives seat and a State House of Assembly seat. Jerome Eke won for the House of Representatives, while Tony Ejiogu won for the State House of Assembly. Two of them are of the People's Democratic Party. And INEC employers was kidnapped, but later on, the political thugs who kidnapped him got him released. The publicity secretary of the All People's Congress in Rivers, Chris Feinbold, claims that the returning officer had declared the election inconclusive, and he was wondering why the results were declared. The returning officer had announced that the conclusion would be on Sunday or Monday. The APC says it was surprised that Mrs. May Agbamuche Mdu, the National Electoral Commissioner in charge of Rivers, ordered the result of inconclusive result to be announced. However, the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Elder Anyedi Ekowak, has clarified that INEC announced the result of the legislative election because the returning officer finished collating at night of Saturday, February 25th. The results were recorded on Form EC 8B as required by law. However, the returning officer was concerned about the margin between the two candidates and the impact of the cancelled results. However, when he was reminded that this was a supplementary election, an ordinary simple majority was required. Nevertheless, the returning officer insisted on getting legal clarification. And so when the legal officer came and confirmed, he now announced the result. So that clarifies the alarm about the result. There's some positive development about business registration. If you want to register business in Nigeria now, you get a form completed and you only have to fill only one form. Before, you used to fill 7 forms. And these forms are now available and it can be downloaded. And when you have completed it, you can also upload them onto the Corporate Affairs Commission. Some of the development includes business could be registered by 60 days, and this is part of the Enabling Business Environment Action Plan introduced by the federal government. There was a story about DSS. They invaded with search warrant a property in part of Abuja, and in the process, they recovered 23 luxury watches, 43 keys to exotic cars, 21 C of O's, and 2 cars that has 3 kinds of arms in them. The items were stashed in the boots of 2 cars. The items and the 2 cars have now been seized, and the former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Susuan, is being questioned by the Department of State connection with it.
All right, Bayo, thank you very much for that. Of course, there are other headlines in other papers. Let's take a quick look now at the Nation newspaper. Just before we go over to the Nation newspaper, there are 1 or 2 headlines we'd like to take still from this day, one of the inside pages of this day newspaper. The story there talks about the seizure of Sun seizes 5 billion naira substandard tires in Lagos. Says 2 Chinese nationals in police net for alleged culpability. So the SON stands for the Standards Organization of Nigeria. By the way, they said that the tires were all stuffed into one another. These are all used tires. And
yes, in fact, there were 6 containers, and they contained about 2 million tires. And the state in which they were stored were that there were no aeration. And the Director General of the Standard Organization of Nigeria Osita Aboloma says that if these tires were allowed to go into the market, they were potential danger for killing Nigerians on the highway. And guess what they were doing? They will rebrand the tires, bring in silver lining thing to wrap the tires, make them look new.
That's right.
They'll change the name and give it different brands, and also alter the expiry date on the tires.
That's right. Well, one of the easiest ways I discovered many years ago to ascertain if a tire was new or otherwise is to what the vulcanizers call the hair. You know, there are tiny sprouts on the surface of the tire itself.
Yes, yes.
If you feel that, if you feel it, the vulcanizers call it hair. I'm not sure what the technical name is now. It means that the tire is new. Okay. If you don't have that, it means
those
tires
hair protruding.
Yeah, protruding. There are tiny rubbers actually protruding from the surface. That's one. But the other point, Bayo and Blessing, is, I mean, we took on this program the suit that covered Port Harcourt and other parts of Rivers and Akwa Ibom and Bayelsa, but more particularly Port Harcourt. That's the Rivers State capital. Now that the tires have been seized, 6 containers, we say millions of tires.
2 million.
How do you dispose of those tires? Are you going to incinerate them and then pollute the atmosphere?
The atmosphere?
Yes, absolutely. So let's take a quick look at the other headlines on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Just very briefly, we'll take a look at the front page of Falana to Oshibajo, free ex-Zakzaki and wife, and lawyer petitions acting president, as well as the AGF, that's the Attorney General of the Federation. Ari creditors to sue government, and Eagles coach Raw stops Iheanacho's China move. Visa rules eased for investors. Also there on the front page, 16 banks fund $220 million with 75 billion naira at Forex forwards. And the lead story on the former governor of Benue, it's also there on the front page of the Nation newspaper. So, Bayo, those are the front pages that we can take in the meantime from the Nation newspaper, and we're also pressed for time now.
All right, thank you for having me.
See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow will be another day.
Thank you for being with us. All right, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be discussing the movement from Abuja to Kaduna next week with regard to airline operations, as the Abuja airport is shut for the repair of its runway.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with
There are over 250,000 street children in Lagos.
The Street Child Care and Welfare Initiative is a sanctuary for street children and runaways. Rotimi Aziz was one such child. 3 years ago, his life was the streets.
It's hard to sleep on the floor because sometimes rain fall and beat us on the floor while we are sleeping outside. So we experience a whole lot of bad things on the street.
NTA Properties Investment Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigerian Television Authority, specializes in creating comfort in all areas of life, such as real estate investments, that is, land, houses, and office spaces, mass leasing, savings and loan scheme, household items and car loans, and so much more. Other information and entertainment services include Property in Style, a TV program that airs on the network service of the NTA, and also Property Connect, a nationwide magazine. Our priority is to bridge poverty gaps and sustain quality welfare of our clients. Partner with us and watch us help you grow. Pay us a visit today at the NTA headquarters permanent site, Area 11 Garki, Abuja, or our Lagos office at number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos. For more information, visit our website on www.ntaproperties.com.ng, or you can email us on ntapeak2000@yahoo.com. Call us on 080-2316-3474 or 080-6939-5185 or 070-3189-0555. NTA Properties Investment Company Limited. The much needed help at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, the program is Good Morning Nigeria. In a matter of weeks, flight operations at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport will relocate temporarily to Kaduna International Airport. This is expected to increase vehicular traffic on the Abuja-Kaduna highway as people shuttle between the nation's capital and Kaduna. Makut Simon Machan took a ride to Kaduna and now gives us an update in this background report.
The Abuja-Kaduna highway is usually a busy road as motorists from Abuja to many parts of the north ply it daily. With few weeks to the temporary closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Abuja and the relocation of flight operations to Kaduna International Airport, this traffic is set to increase. Work has been going on to fix bad portions of the road, and with the countdown to the closure drawing nearer, this work is continuing. We observe that work on most bad portions of the road has progressed considerably, with some diversions along the highway to make room for speedy work. There is some vegetation control work going on also to enhance visibility on the highway. Concerning security, there is a visible presence of police patrol teams stationed at almost every 5-kilometer interval on the road with some stop and search exercise. Now, this is an accident scene in Katari. Katari is about 80 kilometers away from the city of Kaduna. This truck, we understand, had been here for the past 2 days when this accident occurred, and indeed it's yet to be lifted. And questions have been asked as to what could happen in the case where the airport operations move from Abuja to Kaduna, and indeed people have to meet up with time. The Federal Road Safety Corps is also deployed on the road to take care of road safety issues. On arrival in Kaduna, we also observe ongoing work at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Expressway, which is a bypass for motorists heading to Kaduna International Airport. These are the expressions of some residents on the ongoing work.
I think the relocation is going to help boost the Kaduna state both economically and otherwise, considering the fact that it's going to decentralize the focus into Abuja as a whole. It's also bringing a new face to Kaduna as well as good development.
Honestly, FEMA have done a very wonderful work. In most of the roads, they have done patches. Some places they have done a very good tarred road. Honestly, as we are coming from Kaduna, now that was the discussion we were making on the road. That what if the airport is not being transferred there? Does it mean government is not going to do what is right? It is the responsibility of government to check in all our roads.
In the coming days, these and other arrangements will be put to test as actual flight operations are shut down at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to commence at the Kaduna International Airport.
All right, Makut Sama Mancham, thank you very much for that background report. Now, the Honorable Minister of State for Aviation, that's Hadi Sirika, says that the federal government has addressed more than 95% of the concerns raised by foreign airline operators on the closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport and use of Kaduna Airport as an alternative for a 6-week period beginning from the 8th of March. The Honorable Minister said this while addressing representatives of the foreign airlines operating in the country. They had visited him to express their concern. Now, let's get another background report from our correspondent, Timothy Yusuf, who's telling us more about these concerns and how the concerns have been addressed.
Concerns raised by carriers include whether the Kaduna Airport has a perimeter fence, ability to accommodate a sizable number of aircrafts, and other issues bordering on communication and catering services, number of boarding gates, tracking of passengers' luggage in the event of missing, availability of aviation fuel, and the capacity of various government agencies to move down to Kaduna to ensure seamless operations. Minister of State for Aviation Hadi Sirika says the issues raised by the airlines are being tackled. He adds that government will continue to meet with stakeholders to further address all concerns. Hadi Sirika explains that the Kaduna airport has a perimeter fence, including a team of security personnel being put in place to monitor the area. On aviation fuel, Sirika says there is a huge reservoir of the product in Kaduna. While enjoining the airlines to be partners in developing aviation industry in Nigeria, the minister restates government's commitment to making flying into Kaduna as alternate airport safe, secured and comfortable.
As is the best option, we are proceeding. So I can emphatically tell you that this procurement is proceeding. We would, on the due date, on the March of 8, close this runway in the interest of safety for six weeks, and we appeal to our teaming passengers and Nigerians to bear with us. This is for the betterment of our country.
All right, Timothy Yusuf, thank you very much there for that additional background report. Now we are being joined here in the studios as well as from our Kaduna Network Center by guests who will be discussing the matters arising or connected to the relocation of flight operations from Abuja to Kaduna Airport. First, we'd like to, at this time, welcome Captain Mohammed Georgie. Captain Mohammed Georgie is the former Managing Director of Nigerian Airways. He's also the Secretary General of the Aircraft Operators Association of Nigeria, and he's the Chairman of the Coordinating Committee on the relocation of flight operations from Abuja to Kaduna Airport. Captain Georgie, a pleasure to have you on the program.
Good morning.
Okay. And then we also have with us here in the studios the Controller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Muhammad Babangdede. Of course, there will be immigration issues if there are international flights in and out of Kaduna. Comptroller General, pleasure to have you join us again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yes, Kingsley, because there will be issue of security as well. So from the Nigerian police, police force, we have Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG Joshak Habila, is one in charge of operations. DIG Habila, welcome to the program.
Good morning, viewers.
Also, to be part of this conversation, join us from Kaduna via Skype. It's our pleasure to introduce Captain Dan Omale, an aviation expert. Thank you very much, Captain Omale, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Let's begin the conversation by going first to the chair of the coordinating committee. Where are we? Next week is the planned date for relocation. So where are we? Is Kaduna
Well, at the moment, if you look at the statistics of the airline operating into Abuja, both international and domestic, there are 8 of them international: British Airways, Lufthansa, Air France, Air Cote d'Ivoire, Askai, Ethiopian Airlines, Egypt Air, South Africa. But Emirates and Kenya Airways already pulled out due to the scarcity of foreign exchange. So they didn't pull out because of the movement initially. Now, in the domestic sale, you also have 8 airlines flying into Abuja. That you have Eric Airline, Azman, Aero, Dana, Airpeace, Medview, First Nation, and Overland. So you have 8 and 8, 16 airlines coming into Abuja. Now, when we look at the statistics, I gave you a table already to show you that during the 6 weeks, there will be 8,700 aircraft movement, which is about 200 movement a day, 200 and some movement a day. Then there will be 14,423 passengers daily. All that has been taken care of. So the airlines, there are some airlines we understood they don't want to move, but for the reason best known to them. But from these statistics, we are well in order to accommodate all the movement of
Captain
passengers.
Georgie, I mean, some of the data you just read out now, I think our viewers will be interested in you repeating the data. You say there are 8 foreign airlines operating in and out of Abuja,
Yes,
and then 8 domestic airlines.
Yes.
Are all the airlines, all 16 of them or 15 less Emirates, are they willing and ready to operate in and out of Kaduna?
As I understood, not speaking to me directly, some 2 or 3 of them doesn't want to move. That's what I was told. I don't know who, but I was just told. So I cannot give you exactly those airlines that don't want to move. But the ones I gave you are the airlines that are currently flying in and out of Abuja. So maybe just on a weekly basis. Some fly daily, some fly twice a week, some fly 3 times a week. Not all of them are flying daily to Abuja. So as I said, the statistics we had from the fund, the number of passengers movement, we are ready to accommodate them in Kaduna. I have no problem with that.
No, just take it again. How many flights, how many daily flights do you expect?
We are
What is the also anticipated volume of
we
passengers?
are expecting 207 daily flights a day, 207. You take us off our landing, take us off our landing, 200. And the number of passengers, I told you, 14,423 a day. That was what we are expecting according to our own estimate. Maybe not all of them will come, but these are the maximum number that fly in and out of Abuja. So we believe they will all transcend back to Kaduna.
If you say Kaduna is ready, what gives you that confidence?
Because first of all, on my own side, if you look at what is the most important thing, first of all, to land an aeroplane. If you don't land an aeroplane, there will be no terminal, there are no passengers. So the instrument landing system now, we installed, is a brand new one. The instrument landing system is threefold. The localizer, the direct aeroplane, straight in line, the glass rover that moves you up and down, the distance measurement equipment that give you the distance to the threshold. All these are brand new, calibrated. I have seen it myself. The first phase of calibration was carried out yesterday. The second phase will be carried out either today or tomorrow. So as far as instrumentation is concerned, brand new landing instrument, good calibration. The runway is long enough, 3,000 meters by 60 meters, and there's a blast pad. The reason for blast pad, as I explained to you, because here, if I can give you a small idea what a blast pad is all about. The blast pad, you know that when you overrun the runway, there's a soft area where the airplane can come and stop without breaking into pieces. It happened in Canada in 2nd of August 2005 by Air France A340. There are about 297 passengers on board and 12 crew. They were all evacuated between 45 seconds. International Civil Aviation Authority, they introduced a new measures called engineering material arrest system. As you overrun the runway, those material gravel system will slow down the aeroplane instead of using what you call reverse braking. So in our system here now, I have recommended to them to immediately put that blast pad immediately, and at the same time, if you look at the drawing I gave you with the new apron and new extension apron, the blast pad at the moment we have about 120 meters. I asked them to extend it 300 meters because the antenna for the localizer is 350 meters, so we are not infringement on that localizer issue. So as far as the runway is concerned, instrumentation is concerned, we are all in order. All we want to do, final calibration between today and tomorrow. Then there's what you call the glide slope, you know, that keep you up and down. There's a floor, it uses what you call reflection. The floor is about 65 meters long and 8 meters wide. You bound the signal, aeroplane will pick it up. All that has been done. I've seen it, they screened it. So as far as my area of concern is done, I'm quite comfortable with that.
All right, Captain Georgie, yes, you've just talked about some of the navigational aids that will be required. What about the terminal operation areas? Because those were some of the concerns too that were still in the last phase of his resurfacing and all.
Yes, my final inspection was on Saturday. Before yesterday I was here for this program, and I understood the minister were there also yesterday. The terminal arrival and departure, that's the conveyor belt on both sides. And the comptroller immigration was with me in Kaduna in my office. We look at in fact, there was some kind of a arrangement we are making. If you are coming to the airport at the moment, when you are coming to the immigration, you normally see two people in the cubicle, isn't it? SSS or an immigration man. We say, no, that's not necessary. Anywhere in the world you go, you don't have those two people. All you have is immigration people stamping your passport to facilitate easy movement. But here in Abuja, in Nigeria, it's so sad that we have two people inside. We say, no, that's not necessary. If somebody is wanted, if you Skype his passport, they will see it there. So it's an infringement of the free movement of traffic if they have two people inside one cubicle. It's wrong. We discussed that. We have talked about that a lot. So as far as that is concerned, it's all right. Then the conveyor belt is now being constructed. The lighting, the air conditioning, the whole lot is going on. So probably by next week, hopefully, when people pay a visit, you will see the whole thing is in place. Now the arrival, the departure, the whole lot of it now is under construction. So I'm not telling you that whether it's completed or no. As of yesterday, it wasn't completed. But probably by next week, everything will be in place.
What's to be done about operational staff, personnel? Because this is one airport that had not received this volume of movement of both passengers.
Now, we had a meeting with the authority, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Airspace Management System. Now, they if you are coming to the airport, you will see quarters on your right-hand side. That's Federal Airport Authority quarters. They have started renovating those quarters to increase, so that to accommodate the increased number of people coming in. So that has been taking place. Now, if you are coming to the terminal, also on the left-hand side is a police station, remember? So we're glad to say that the Governor El-Rufai have prepared all this, and now it's all good. He is now in charge of all the dual carriageway that come into the airport. If you go now, everything now is in place. On the left-hand side, the governor also now is introducing a brand new car park that can accommodate more than 200-300 cars. So it is only in Nigeria that you pay toll gate, that you pay the toll gate. Most part of the world, you walk free, drop your passengers, and pay at the car park. So this is what we have been advocating. Forget about collecting money at the toll gate. Move to the car park to facilitate movement. That's what we are doing. In fact, as we are coming through the Kaduna Airport, you will see the Air Force zigzag, all these barriers have been removed now. And then from the roundabout, before you come, the governor has provided what you call solar lights all the way from the roundabout right up to the airport. And then in the airport, you say, if you go in the night, you think that you're in a studio like this. All lights are working properly.
All right, thank you, Captain Georgie. We'll come back to you in the course of the conversation. Comptroller General of Immigration, Doctor, this is a major assignment for your men and officers from the Kaduna Airport for the 6-week period that the airport is going to be receiving alternative flights from Abuja. How prepared is immigration? Are you satisfied with the logistics? Are you satisfied with the infrastructure?
Yeah, I visited Kaduna, and luckily I met Captain Georgie in Kaduna. For our law, any person entering or leaving Nigeria, it is compulsory for that person to appear before an immigration officer. So anywhere government declares an airport, we must be there to ensure that people arrives and leaves with our knowledge. It is important to note that all our airports are linked to our database. Okay. So all person arriving and leaving Nigeria, we can look at previous records. We can see if the person is wanted. And we do this together with other sister agencies. So I visited Kaduna personally, and we are part of the committee for relocation. I'm glad and I'm satisfied that there is a space for immigration to install its equipment. For personnel, we already have personnel in Kaduna, but there are some who are expert in terms of clearance, e-pass clearance. We are picking some of them from Abuja to move to Kaduna. This we have concluded. Equipments are available. We are only waiting for government. We have written to government that we need to buy certain equipment for the movement. I'm sure the Ministry of Aviation is doing something to give us the money to buy these equipments. We're very moderate, actually, what we wrote to government to see that things are more in place, either on permanent or temporary basis. We believe that Kaduna Airport can be kept as an alternate airport. Equipment should be left there in case something happened. Like during Hajj operation, Kaduna is still moving up as airline, so we move things and remove them back. But this will be an opportunity to keep the equipment permanently. We are also prepared with Lagos. We are aware out of the 8 international aircrafts coming into Abuja, some might not come to Abuja. So we are ready to strengthen staffs so that they can respond to increase in passenger volume in Lagos. We are really prepared for the closure of Abuja Airport.
Okay, thank you very much, Controller General of Immigration. Let's quickly go over to Kaduna to join Captain Omale, who is joining us via Skype. Yes, for the airports of this strength, of course, looking at the different categories for airports, Kaduna, of course, has its own added shortcoming. But from the narratives that we've gotten so far, what do you make of what has changed and what more needs to be considered in this relocation of operations?
Well, to me, I think this is a bad decision the federal government has made in a long time. It is true and it is unusual to close down the nation capital's airport, yes. But when you have a structural failure, a runway structural failure like we have in Abuja now, the best decision is what the government has done. And I was at Kaduna Airport a few days ago, and a lot of work going on, and everything is going on well. And this is the best way to move forward. This country must make, people in this country must make some sacrifices. We have to. Otherwise, how are we going to get there? The movement to Kaduna has actually helped in renovation of the road from Kaduna to Abuja or Abuja to Kaduna, whichever way. And Kaduna Airport has been laid fallow for a while, or has been lying fallow for a while, is now reactivated. A lot of work going on. I think I support this movement, and I think this is the best way we can move forward in this country. It's a great sacrifice, but we must do it.
Well, Captain O'Malley, thank you very much. Captain Georgie, a moment ago, was talking about some of the issues that have been addressed. He talked about the availability of aviation fuel. He also talked about the fact that you have modern navigational aids and so on and so forth. From what you know, is this the situation, or are there matters that still need to be touched on? I mean, does the airport have the capacity or capability, rather, to handle night flights?
The airport can handle most of the flights coming into Abuja. That's no problem. I see there's a lot of expansion of the ramp in Kaduna now. They're expanding the ramp very rapidly, and the terminal building is up and running. They will complete it on time. As for aviation fuel, I know there's going to be a lot of flights. There will be so many foreign airlines coming in and a lot of domestic flights. I was with Cornwall a few days ago. For the first time, they're having a lot of stock of fuel, and the minister has been on their neck to ensure that they don't run out of fuel during this period. And Cornwall, from what I gather from the manager, is capable of meeting every JT1 requirement for all the flights coming in and out of Kaduna. I think it's a great job, a lot of work, expansion going on there. We'll be able to manage it. We'll be able to survive it. It's not a big deal at all.
Thank you very much, Captain Dan O'Malley. Now, back to us in the Abuja studio, we introduced DIG Habila. Yes, beyond the airport security, which is key, the route to get to Kaduna is a long one. It's about 200 kilometers or less. Perhaps you might want to tell us how prepared is the Nigerian police force for this task ahead of them.
Okay, thank you so much. The Nigerian police with other security agencies have synergized. We've also been able to take a drive and also inspect places that require security deployments. We've done that, and we've done a simulation, and we're very, very sure that the 180 kilometers route that span from Abuja to the international airport in Kaduna will be well secured, and the perimeter and other areas that require security deployment, we've done that. We're doing that in conjunction with other security agencies and the defense headquarters that has also been very, very made available at all times. They also have also keyed in. We do not have any doubt and any fear as to provide security for this relocation.
What kind of security, I mean, without necessarily gaming your DIG operation, so you know what to say and what not to say, so that potentially criminally minded persons will not take advantage of that. But what kind of security are we looking at? Because there were reports earlier that passengers who would ride on shuttle services from Abuja to Kaduna and from Kaduna to Abuja would have police escorts, just as you find with some of the airline officials when they are going to and from the airport. So what kind of security are we expecting? Or is it that there will just be a proliferation of security men and operatives on the route?
No, the securities templates have already been fully worked out, and we have holding bays where those of them that would want to go to Kaduna to take their flight, either local or international. We have identified those areas and we've made them comfortable, and these areas are where we're supposed to pick passengers and escort them as they gather. That we don't want to say exactly now where these places are, but in a few days, a week before this time, a lot of people will know where these places are. We're also going to ensure that we reinforce the patrol vehicles that you've seen along the road from Abuja to Kaduna, taking note of areas that we've crime up and identify as places where people are likely to be attacked. We're going to replicate that, but if you take a drive now, you would see some patrol vehicles being positioned here to the international airport. We're going to also use the police helicopter, and also the Nigerian Air Force have agreed that they're going to fly over and then do a kind of operation that will give confidence to everyone, and also ward of any would-be criminals that would want to come to take a shot at people plying this road. We've had that. At the international airport, we've also done what we call a simulation with other security agencies, the perimeter fence, and the general area where security are supposed to be. We've seen that, and we've already map out areas where we're going to be. For the explosive ordnance department and every other security that we usually have at the international airport here in Abuja is going to be replicated right out there. We're going to be there a week to the 8th. That is the day for relocation. We will be there for 1 week to ensure that there's sufficient security.
Okay, DIG is still with you. Of course, the road transportation is not just the only means people get to Kaduna to join or take off their flights. There are train services. Do you have the capacity as in the personnel and men to actually address this issue of security all through?
Yes, we do. We've trained the rail marshals, and each of these coaches we're going to drop in, put in armed personnel, and also those of them also that will discreetly look at those passengers and then man the coaches. We've done that. We've also enforced the route from the town into these train stations and the train terminals. We've done that, and I can assure you that we're going to provide robust security for the trains and those that are going by the roads.
What other challenges do you foresee? So it could be addressed with the chairman coordinating the movement is here. What other things would the Nigerian Police Force require to make your operation very smooth? Okay,
what I know is that we've been meeting and we've put bare, we lay bare challenges that we're expecting, and solutions have almost been found. As I said, this meeting and collaboration continues. But for now, we haven't seen anything that is most challenging that has not been brought to the management of this airport and those of them that are responsible for this supervision and providing the necessity for the relocation. But as we go on, if there's any. But for now, some of the issues that pose as a challenge have already been discussed.
All right, GIG Habila, thank you very much. Just Captain Georgie, one more time. Let's take a look at another very critical agency that we haven't talked about. Where is the Customs Service in all of this?
Well, I think the Customs Service, I'm not one of those people. Anyway, the immigration man maybe is, they work pari passu, the same set of engagement. But the custom is coming. All I knew, I haven't seen custom yet in that place.
Come again, please.
I haven't seen a custom person there when we're holding a meeting with the immigration boss there.
All right, so let's get a view then of the Comptroller General of Immigration. Where are your counterparts from Customs?
I'm glad to say that we have been working together. We want to use Kaduna Airport as a test of some of the reforms government is pursuing. One of which, for example, is the arrival and departure cards. You are quite aware if you travel to Nigeria, if you're a foreigner, you fill 3 forms. It's a patic for people who arrive in Nigeria. Health form, customs forms, immigration form. With the customs and all our technical partners, we have developed one form based on the Presidential Enabling Environment Council that all Nigerians who are departing, and all foreigners will fill only one form. And on return to Nigeria, Nigerians are not expected to complete arrival form. Only foreigners will fill one form, arrival form. We want to test this. So we have been working with the custom, with the SSS, with all security officers, and we want to use Kaduna as a test ground so that we can make Nigerians and foreigners to have only one form completed. That's the ease of doing business. Secondly, with the customs, if you look at the system everywhere in the world, when you arrive, you have a choice to declare or not to declare. If you declare, you will complete a form stating that you have brought this currency or this equipment. If you refuse to declare and custom found you with anything which is contraband, you will be charged for lack of declaration. So we are working together with the customs in this area. They will be around immediately after arrival in the airports. When you are allowed to enter Nigeria, the next point will be custom, where you have a choice to declare or not to declare. Airports in Nigeria will be like airports everywhere in the world. So we're working together with the customs in the committee.
So when you, just to again clarify the issue of the new departure and landing cards that you talked about, Nigerians who are coming in need not fill a new card, that's what you need not fill any card, that's what you are saying?
By the provision of our act, they don't need to fill a form. So even customs agreed, all the questions required by health, by custom, by SSS, we have decided to put it in one form. When departing, you will see a question of declaration in your form, whether you are Nigerian or a foreigner. We reduced the questions which were around 20 before to 15, which is the same quantity, amount of questions in the UK immigration form. When you are departing, Nigerians, foreigners will all fill a form. But on arrival, since they are returning back to their country, they will not be expected. No Nigerian is expected to fill a form, but has the right to declare or not to declare when he arrives at customs.
Now, with that form, that single form, for instance, also involve questions as to how much you have on you, when you are leaving, and at what point would you clear that? Because if you, let's take Murtala Muhammad Airport, Lagos, for instance. I mean, the immigration desk is different from the customs desk. So are you going to have both the customs and the immigration manage the desk at the same time, or each of the service would look at relevant questions and respond accordingly, so that passengers will get advance notice of what to expect?
We will launch it officially. There will be adequate information. But the idea is always for us to look at other airports in the world. When you arrive Heathrow Airport, the first person you see is an immigration officer. After completing the form, behind the immigration officer, you will see the customs, where you have a choice to declare or not to declare. If you refuse to declare, and they are able to find you have something, there are many ways to find. I don't want to share this. If they are able to find that you have goods, money, or any contraband, you can be charged. That is the system we want to run here. When you arrive Nigeria, you see an immigration officer complete arrival form. If you're a foreigner, you pass immigration, then you have a choice to declare or to declare. If you are a citizen of Nigeria, you present your passport to immigration. After clearance, behind immigration, you will see customs. You will see red and green. You have the choice to go to green or red. But if you refuse to declare, you will be charged. That's the system, how it will run. And I think it's the best way we can do to make our airports efficient and effective, like it is everywhere in the world.
All right, Comptroller General, thank you very much. Just to return again to the DIG in charge of operations. Now, one of the major issues that persons have talked about with regard to the relocation is the spate of kidnapping in and around Kaduna itself. The latest, of course, being the archaeologists who were kidnapped the other day. What is the situation now with dealing decisively with the incidents of kidnapping?
Well, thank you so much. Kidnapping as an act has to do with victims not actually knowing that there's any plan to kidnap them. Otherwise, if you look at the German archaeologists, you will know that it's at Kagarko. Kagarko is miles away from Jere. And these people have been around, they have security, but they left those security in the homes and went into the place because they've been there for quite some time, and the impression is that they feel they're part of that community and they do not envisage any danger. Well, of course, and they were taken. I know they've been released, but like I told you, or like it is, we've taken note of that, and you know that we are going to use the expressway where we've already lined up security. We also do have some security patrol vehicles. If you drive towards Jere, you would see them. And that was why I think there's a gap at that Kakarko, and they exploit that opportunity to do what they did. But like I told you, we've gone back to the drawing board, and I can assure you that any road to the international airport in Kaduna will be well policed.
Any hotlines in case of emergency?
Yes, I will do that shortly. I will drop that, but at the moment, there are some we've already circulated here, but for the avoidance of doubt, I'll let them have that soon after this program.
We hope that this will be easy to remember numbers. You know, not some of these 10 or 11 digits. Is it 3 digits? That probably should be sufficient, as some persons have indicated. Is that what you are working on?
We're going to give out the numbers that will easily be remembered. And remember also that we have a response platform where people can also observe and utilize that. We're going to give you all those ones now again for those of them that haven't heard.
All right. Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG Joshak Habila, is in charge of operations. We'd like to thank you for being part of our discussion this morning.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, so we continue with the conversation. Captain Georgie, just before we take a short break, there are issues pertaining to the movement of passengers. There were earlier reports as to how passengers could be shuttled from Abuja to Kaduna and then back rather than going on their own. But before we deal with that issue, let's go back to Kaduna, Blessing, to get our reporter who has an account of the state of work going on to put the airport in shape for the volume of traffic and operations it will be handling from next week.
The Kaduna International Airport has been rebranded with modern equipment in line with international best standards to accommodate traffic diversion when Abuja Airport undergo repairs. All the concerns raised by foreign airlines to do with instrumental landing system, glide slope, airfield lighting panel, among others, are now in place. At the main terminal, there was remarkable improvement as the check-in and ticketing counters, communication room, cameras, conveyor belts have all been fixed, tested, and declared to be in good working condition.
Most of our facilities are now in place. The approach lights are okay now. The terminal building is at 95% ready. So we're just waiting for the deadline.
On its part, the Kaduna State government is not resting on its hours to make sure that the March 8th deadline is a reality by taking over the construction of the protocol lounge, a new park, and other facilities at the airport. Initially, this entrance into the Kaduna International Airport was a single carriageway, but it has been expanded to dual carriageway for easy flow of traffic by Kaduna State government.
All right, thank you very much there for that situation report on the Kaduna Airport, which we can see there, Blessing, quite some work going on. And of course, that's not to suggest that the work will not continue beyond the 8th of March. Of course, that's additional work to be done. But just to return to Captain Georgie, I asked the question about movement of passengers to and from Kaduna. Is the arrangement still on, or passengers will have to find their way?
I think the way I understood it at the moment, having yet get the final answer, the movement is in place from Abuja to Kaduna. You know, it's not only, people are making a mistake here. Even Abuja passengers, they are not only Abuja passengers. You have those from Funtua, you have those in Zaria, you have those in other parts of the Bauchi, Gombe. So all these passengers, they're not only from Abuja, so maybe directly from Abuja, there are not many. So you have the Zaria, Funtua and company. It's easy for them to move into Kaduna. People are not looking at that aspect of it. So probably you'll find only 50% now you are talking about. The rest are what you call from the pilot station, so as far as we are concerned. But then the issue of whether we are ready or not.
Sorry, please, clarify that. Now, would there be shuttle services?
Yes.
From Abuja, for instance?
Yes, I was made to understand. I think there's a meeting I will hold with the governor. The way we understood it, the minister, the governor, and I will meet. There will be some shuttle services from Abuja to Kaduna with all the security agencies in place.
Is it just for VIP movement or
no, just for everybody, Now I believe the security agencies are lining themselves up from Abuja to Kaduna. So you find that, I believe, within the period, I believe in 24 hours, it's 24 hours operation. So the security agencies, the police, the army, all the authorities, a lot of them, they will be on the road in day and night.
Will this cost be on the airlines?
Pardon?
Will this cost of movement, shuttle movement, be on
No, because it is the responsibility of the government to ensure safety and security for its own citizens, so it cannot be the cost of the airline. That's part of the government contribution to all this movement. As far as we are concerned, we just put a metal cylinder to carry people up and down, so that's our responsibility.
No, sorry, Captain Georgie, we're not talking about the security to be provided. Let's give an example. I mean, we're all travelers.
Yeah.
Assuming now I want to fly from Abuja to Accra, or I want to fly from Abuja to Maiduguri or Abuja to Lagos, and I say, look, okay, I want to use the airport in Kaduna. How do I go? I can go. I can opt to go on my own. Now, if there will be shuttle services, from where will the shuttle service take off? That's one. And then who bears the cost of that shuttle service? Would there be a token amount to be paid by passengers? Would there be times to be announced by the operators to say, look, we shall depart Abuja Airport or a certain designated place in the central business district of Abuja, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. on an hourly basis. You know, if you come, this is how much it's going to cost you.
Yes. All this will be done free of charge. We're having it finalized. As soon as I get back to Kaduna, I'm going to have a meeting today and tomorrow to finalize all those issues. But bus services will be provided by the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria without charging any passenger at all. So those bus services, you don't pay anything. At the same time, if you look at Rigasa, you know there's a railway station there. And there Rigasa, the governor gladly, although he created a road directly linking from Rigasa right up to the junction of the airport. So those who come by train, they're now being conveyed by a bus through that new perimeter road right up to the airport junction, right up to the airport itself. So already that provision has already been made. If you go back to Kaduna now, you will see now they are regrading the road now. They are trying to put a tar. So all this has been taken into place. So coming back to you, nobody will charge you anything because the fund will provide the vehicle free of charge. You see, normally when you check in Abuja here, it's the responsibility of the Federal Airport Authority to convey you to Kaduna without any cost, without incurring any cost from yourself. And then it is not our responsibility also that we pay, no. Because normally passengers, what do they pay? They pay passenger service charge, isn't it? So from the passenger service charge you are paying, it's part of the services they have to provide for you. So it's nothing to do with me to say that I'm going to pay for that. It's the responsibility of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria to do that.
Okay, Captain Georgie, thank you very much. We have joining us for this conversation a manager with Asma Airlines, that's Abdullahi Saroke. Abdullahi Saroke, a pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, now, of course, you've had the benefit of listening to the comments of the other guests just before we brought you in. What are the practical issues for airlines that will be now operating from Kaduna with effect from, of course, the 8th of March, including the shuttle services we just discussed with Captain George a moment ago?
Yeah, as for airline, the numbers of flights that are operating out of Abuja won't be possible in Kaduna for so many reasons. For those that will be operating out of Abuja we've been operating out of Abuja to Benin, Enugu, and Asaba. That won't be possible in Kaduna because you won't travel 4 hours from Abuja to Kaduna to go and fly from Abuja, from Kaduna to Asaba or Kaduna to Benin. You can equally spend that 4 hours from here to Benin or Asaba or Enugu, and you are at home. So, as for the airline, for the numbers of flights that we're operating out of Abuja, is going to be 1/3 of the flight that will be able to operate out of Kaduna for this very reason.
Are you speaking on behalf of ASMA, or that's the kind of information you have from your colleagues in the airline business?
The information I got from the colleague, and for ASMA, like from Abuja here, we operate Kano out of Abuja. There's no way that I'll travel for 4 hours from Abuja to Kaduna just to fly out of Kaduna to Kano. So that won't be possible again. So at the end of the day, airlines will have to shut down their operation. Some will have to even park those aircraft. And you only make money when you fly those aircraft, not by parking them. We appreciate the minister for closing down the airport just for safety and security, for safety reasons. So that's the best practices all over the world. But for the airline, we are hoping that the government will come for intervention because most of those aircraft will be parked for this period. We won't be able to fly all
So you are saying, therefore, this is one of the blessings. This is a glaring implication of the planned closure of the airport, that the airlines, in particular, we're not talking about domestic airlines, will scale back on the number of flights that they normally would take from Kaduna. They normally would take from Abuja. When they are in Kaduna, they will scale back. What are the routes that are most likely to be affected? You touched on a number of them already, but which ones do we have a clear indication of? Is Lagos included? Is Port Harcourt included? Is Benin there? Is Asaba there? Owerri, Enugu, Uyo, Gombe?
Most of the routes that will be affected are those routes that are closer to Abuja, like Gombe, Bauchi, Asaba, probably Port Harcourt, Enugu, Benin, Warri. These areas are closer to Abuja. Spending 4 hours to Kaduna is as good as spending that 4 hours and you're getting to all those destinations that we're talking about. So I don't think any passenger will be so rich to travel from here to Kaduna for 4 hours and spend about 20,000 or 25,000 or 30,000 to fly for 1 hour or 1.5 hours to Benin and other areas.
All right, thank you very much, Abdullahi Saroke Abu. Not related to this Abu anyway. Okay, we have tweets from our viewers already joining us in this conversation. We'll quickly take a look at them and we continue with our conversation. From Augustine Edupoku, it says, our successive governments lacked foresight. That's why we're facing this international embarrassment regarding Abuja Airport. One runway for an international airport.
And then we have this from Dile Jack Solomon. Now, it says, Nigerians, I hope that all necessary modalities and logistics have been put in place to divert flights to Kaduna.
Jacob Lloyd said, will the airline operators pay for the transportation from Kaduna to Abuja? I think Captain George already addressed that.
All right, it's A.S. Filane. So if not for the movement, our senator representative would have asked for the maintenance and all security issues. Now, let's have the fear of God. That's what it says.
From John Christian Alex, what is so important about the lives of airline passengers over the lives of other Nigerians?
Now, Festus Akimboyewa tweets, Abuja Airport runway is unsafe, and government is right to close it temporarily for reconstruction. Foreign airlines mustn't be allowed to bully us.
From Dele Jack Solomon, it says, Salma, currently Kaduna is a Category 8 airport, and one determiner for grading airport is the level of fire cover. Kaduna now has it.
All right, now that's those are the tweets that we have in the meantime. Let's return to Captain Dan O'Malley. Captain Dan O'Malley still with us via Skype from Kaduna. Captain O'Malley, you listen to the manager of Asma Airlines now talk about some of the practical challenges that the operators would face scaling back on their operations and then also pitching for subvention since their aircraft will be lying fallow. What's your comment?
Well, anytime a government makes a decision, or federal government takes a decision, a lot of people or a lot of operations will be affected. Of course, the airlines are affected. They are used to Abuja, Lagos, Abuja to everywhere in the country. But there is a change right now. Something must be done. We need to keep Abuja Airport safe. The runway structure is bad. The structural integrity of Abuja runway must be upgraded. And that's exactly the decision the government has taken. And there's no way it won't affect a lot of airlines. There's no other way out. But it doesn't mean government must compensate the airlines. I don't know if at this stage in our country's economy, the federal government can afford to support, to give airlines money for the discomfort or the inconvenience I don't think government is ready for that. I'm not speaking for the government. I'll be happy if they pay the private airlines. I'll be so happy if they can afford to help them. But this is a major decision. And what we're talking about is safety. It's not about money now. Let's forget money. Let's put money aside. Commercially, airlines are affected. Even those who travel to Lagos from Abuja, or privately, those who want to go from any Abuja to anywhere are affected. The fact that they are even going to give free services, transport from Abuja to Kaduna and Kaduna back to Abuja, I think is great. And I don't think there's anything anybody can do about that. If the government is willing to support the airlines to give them money, well, that's fine. But I don't think it is a right. And I think they are affected, yes. That's the best government can do at this stage. And for me, this is the only option at this stage. If we are taking Lagos Airport, people will complain. Whether it's Mina, people will complain. If you use Bini as the alternate airport, Nigerians will complain. So this is the best thing to do. And airlines can sit down with the minister and explain their problems. And everybody is affected or will be affected right now. But we must bear it. It's only for about 6 to 8 weeks at the most. And after that, operations will come to normal.
Captain Omale, still with you. From your knowledge of Kaduna Airport, what is its apron capability? I mean, do you have adequate parking space for aircraft? Assuming you have some of those bigger planes landing, 777 or 747 if they come, and then you have the range of 737s and then the smaller aircraft.
Jet speed. They are expanding Kaduna Airport ramp right now, and I'm sure that will be able to accommodate, all the big airplanes. I'm not sure about the Airbus A380 because the 380 doesn't come to Nigeria anyway. But 777, 75, 777, 767, any of those big airplanes should be able to comfortably park at the ramp right now. If you see the scope of work going on at Kaduna Airport, you'll be amazed. I didn't know there was so much land, but the expansion is really helping out. And all the airlines should be able to park safely and depart safely. I'm in support of this 100%.
While, Captain Omale, let's dispense with this very quickly because that was one of the issues raised in the tweet. I mean, while we are extolling the work that is ongoing now at the Kaduna Airport to upscale it, again, from your knowledge of Kaduna Airport, how did it fall into this state of disrepair?
Well, it's not only Kaduna Airport. If you look at the majority of the airports in this country, most of them are actually in the state of repair. If you look at Jos, Yola, Sokoto, most of these airports were renovated halfway. During Stella Odua's time, there was great enthusiasm in upgrading all the airports. And unfortunately, they wanted to do 22 airports at the same time, and they couldn't. They didn't have money to do that. So they left the airport halfway. Most of the airports are like that. Kano, Port Harcourt, even if you go and look at Port Harcourt today, if you go to Lagos International Airport, you will just cry for yourself. But all the airports in Nigeria are undergoing, they are in a state of dilapidation. Virtually all the airports in Nigeria. Even Abuja that you're talking about, the domestic wing and even the international wing that you're looking at it, it's not up to any standard, except the new terminal building coming up is finished. So the infrastructure of our airports in this country, aviation infrastructure generally in Nigeria has been in a state of disrepair. And this government, I think they're making the best effort and the greatest effort so far to upgrade all the airports. It's not easy. They have to go stage by stage. Maybe nobody would have thought that Abuja Airport runway will be in such a state at this stage that the infrastructure integrity of the airport will be in in doubt. But this is it. We've seen this, and this is what is happening. So I think we must commend the government for the effort to continue. And there's a lot to do, a lot. All the airports in Nigeria, a lot.
Captain Omale, back to us in Abuja. Quickly, Captain Georgie. Yes, he's taking this resurfacing of the Abuja runway for us to actually move to sea to the repairs of another airport. 6 weeks, Kaduna will be in the limelight, enjoying most of the big economic activities. What do we do to actually maintain these operations after we get back to Abuja Airport?
See, as always, we always get caught with our pants down. If I can give you a simple thing, in 1975, let Sheikh Musa Eradua, at that time the brigadier, on what you call the airport development.
It was a lieutenant colonel at the time.
Yeah, lieutenant colonel. No, but we call him brigadier. Remember, they promote him straight from that after
that was 76.
After 76 goes. So when we say 1975 to 76, a third development plan for 5 years. Sheikh Musa Eradua planned all this. Later on in 83, there was an amendment to construct a second runway in Abuja. We had a hell of a lot of argument in the Senate 2010. The costing, this is the whole document here. The costing, the argument, people looking for money, whatever it is. This is the summary here. We say Abuja runway, after 30 years, has to be resurfaced. Now, at the moment, if you look at Abuja runway, the second and the third layer is gone. Remember, it was steel, concrete, steel, concrete, steel, concrete. So even if you resurface it, the structure at the bottom is gone. So you have to build a new runway altogether. Now, at that particular time...
Can this be fixed in 6 weeks?
Well, you know, the Abuja runway.
Yes.
Well, I don't know that for sure because I'm not a contractor. I'm not a civil engineer. But remember in the Abuja master plan, there was a provision for a second runway at that particular time. Now, my advice is if they are fixing the Abuja existing runway, they should go concurrently also get the second runway, which cannot affect the first runway. You know, we have done all that. In fact, it was the cost element here, I show you here. At that time, we were about five bidders. At the end of the day, the money was reduced from 72.9 billion down to 65.5 billion to construct the second runway 7 years ago. But because of arguments, remember in the Senate, this man and that man and that man, that's what's been been jettison. Now, you know how much it will cost you? We don't know because of the delay and argument. So the existing runway now in Abuja, as I say, it had to close. There's no way you can do patch repair. It's not going to work. Because now if you look at the whole, isn't it? Now, I understand one senators were making a mistake. They say, oh, how much a highway will cost? I mean, compared to you are telling me that this runway will cost how much? I say, good. Take a fully loaded jumbo jet, 450,000 kilograms in weight, bang it from 5 feet to a runway. That's going to be your graveyard, isn't it? You know, if you take it the highway. So also there's this controversy for, you see, everybody claims to be an expert except the experts themselves. That's the problem we have at the moment. So as far as the runway is concerned, Kaduna runway is okay, it's adequate, it's long enough. The apron you mentioned, I've given them a new drawing to say you can either move laterally to put a second apron, and there's plenty of space up to the fire station, or move on the other side and then create a new apron. But they reassure me the existing apron can take all the number of airplanes that will arrive into Kaduna. I say, okay, we'll live to see, but don't make a mistake. Make sure to extend that apron towards the fire service, just in case thing will happen. You mentioned also the fuel issue, isn't it? I remember in 1989, 1991, let Lurwanu Lukuma, remember, our Secretary General there, we advised him, why can't we produce aviation fuel? So he quickly went to Kaduna Refinery. What is this? It's a kerosene plus carbon. That's what it's all about. And Kaduna Refinery was producing aviation fuel. Now, to my surprise, when I wrote a document, I say, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Wari, how on earth a kerosene with a carbon we cannot produce? People enjoy importing, just spending dollars, years upon years. Why are we doing all this? So it's also our own fault, really.
So what is the situation now from your interaction with the management of Kaduna Refinery. Are they producing aviation fuel now?
Well, I haven't yet sat down with them yet and spoke with them. I haven't yet. I'm going to meet them probably during the week to find out exactly what's going on. But what it is, gentlemen, a kerosene and a carbon added to it. That's all it needs to produce aviation fuel.
Okay, but earlier you talked about navigational facilities.
Yeah.
You say they are, all brand new. That will also lead us to the question of the control tower. What is the state of the control tower? In particular, also, one of the advancements that Abuja Airport recorded was the installation of the equipment that could detect low wind shear.
Yes.
Do we have that for Kaduna,
Now,
for instance?
low-level wind shear, we are now in the process of bringing it down to Kaduna. That what we call LLW, that's low-level wind shear. Now, the control tower you saw at the moment in Kaduna, remember, we are now using the fire, remember on the fire station, the fire control tower is a good tower. What you need in the tower is just the control, what you call a control tower head. That's all you need. So you can take the head to put in any other building. I can just erect a building and just put a control tower head. At the moment also, we have what you call mobile control tower in Kano. During the construction of Kano, there was a mobile control tower. We moved it from Lagos to Kano. So we can use that temporarily while the construction of the main control tower is going on. Then, sorry, before I forgot also, the immigration man is there as well. In most parts of the world, that's what you call advanced passenger information, isn't it? Before you travel, they send you all the list of the passengers so they can now detect. So I'm hoping this thing will ease the problem. If if you do, like for example, now if I'm going to America, before I even start flying, they know who I am, they know my DT, they know thoroughly. And then if I go to the internet to build, they ask me all this question, my passport number, my list. So that advanced information type is good also. I don't know whether it has been going. Then the second question is the size of the immigration stamp. Remember? The stamp. I think we have to reduce the stamp. Otherwise, if they stamp your passport 2-3 times, then the passport page is gone.
Thank you for doing our job this morning. Well, he's here. Let's find out more about this communication aspect you just raised.
Yes, first, before I reply him, I happen to be a member of the Presidential Committee on the movement to Kaduna. I'm glad to say that government has taken all efforts to make sure the airport is completed within the time frame. Julius Vega, which has been given the job, will work 24/7, day and night. Also, they will be bringing all equipment in 3 pieces. In case one spoil, they don't need to travel back to replace it. The Minister of Aviation made it very clear that all equipment will be on ground before the starting of the project. It will be air freighted, not by cargo. Only sand and other things will be on ground. So I'm sure that the target will be met. Also, the issue of security people have been raising about concern. Government said it clearly, we are part of the security committee, that the interest of security is for overall, not for few people to be escorted. It's better to have an overall security for its citizens all through, so that things will move effectively. I'm surprised that the airlines are worried. If you look at the arithmetic of the mobility, if Abuja is closed and Kaduna is open, there are some people who are from Kaduna. They arrive Abuja. So you have caught up those people already. They are already at home. There are very few people celebrating that aircraft will land in their hometown. Similarly, if airlines, you are from Gombe, you land in Kaduna instead of Abuja, there can still be local flight from Kaduna to Gombe. So the local airlines need to be proactive. If you are traveling to Benin, or let's say you are trying to be Lokoja, there can be the airplane landed directly from Lagos. It can take you from Lagos directly to those locations. So the airlines need all to be very active to rejiggle their movement. You find out that the loss will be very minimal. If people can move from Kaduna to other locations, they don't need to move from Abuja like the way they move to the Embaran. So this is quite possible. The issue of advanced passenger information system is part of the overall reforms which the government is talking about. This morning, it was in the newspaper that we have introduced a new visa system for investors. We are improving visa on arrival. The advanced passenger system is a security issue. I don't want to raise it, but I assure you that we'll be able to know in the next few times, even if you buy a ticket, we'll be able to know that you are coming to Nigeria. That's how the system works. Gradually, with the time, we'll even eliminate the arrival card. In many countries, you don't see arrival cards because they have advanced information when you buy the ticket. They have advanced information when you check in at the counter. They have advanced information when the aircraft takes off already. We are getting to that level. We are committed to doing this. I assure you things will be done that much easier.
Comptroller General, one other question that we haven't touched on is port health facilities. Does Kaduna, I know that's not your area essentially, but you're a member of the committee, so let's pop a question to you. How ready is Kaduna now to handle port health issues?
In our forms, it will clearly show you that there are possibilities. There is no need. Go to any part of the world. There is no need. The Presidential Business Environment Council is introducing a system. For example, if we have a single scanner when you are coming into airport, and we have a single scanner when you are leaving airport, that single scanner on arrival will show all the wanted or unwanted things on arrival. We don't need to stand people, because they are health people, to stand to look at
so is the
passengers.
one single scanner what we have in the Kaduna airport?
That's the dream we have. But what I'm saying is
my question actually has to do, are there quarantine facilities at the Kaduna airport?
I cannot answer this because I'm not from health authority. But what I'm saying, that's
why I entered the caveat to say that I know that you're not. But if you're a member of the committee, Captain George, do you have any information on that with regard to quarantine facilities? I mean, at other airports here in Abuja, in Lagos, and then I'm sure in Kano, you have quarantine facilities in case there's a public health hazard. So do you have that information?
I've been talking to some people. They didn't answer that question I asked that you asked me. So anyway, sorry, that's another issue.
It's a point to worry about.
Yep. But coming back to the Nigeria today, market potential. I hear the airline man was talking about here. We have a very huge market potential. People are not taking advantage of that. When I wrote a document some few months ago, I look at the population of Nigeria, over 188 million. Average age, 18 years. Those above 60 plus, only 4% compared to Japan, 62%. Now, if you look at the 17 West African countries put together, they are not up to the population of Nigeria.
Sorry, Captain Georgie, we are pressed for time. We have another set of tweets that we want to take in the meantime, and then we go back to Asma, as well as Captain Omale to take their closing thoughts. This tweet from Sani Makala Makoje. If this arrangement is a way out to pay attention to our roads, maybe next time we might need to relocate to Enugu Airport.
From Ibrahim Tudu, if there are large buses available, it will make the passengers and other commuters comfortable, apart from train and charter taxis.
Sani Abakura tweets on the temporary relocation of flights to Kaduna. How is the hospitality sector prepared for it?
From Chigero, Mark says it's a welcome development, but I think the authority should remember roads for common people too. Not every Nigerian fly.
All right, and then we have this again from Ibrahim Tudu. Is there any provision for helicopter shuttle services? I thought they should be incorporated for convenience and emergency.
From Dele Jack Solomon said, my distinguished moderators, thank God, if for nothing, the air diversion to Kaduna has helped refurbish the Kaduna-Abuja highways.
And then Ishaq Abdul Hamid, now merging the landing card forms for the various agencies is a step forward. Let's sustain and merge other activities and functions that cause delay. All right, so those are the tweets, second set of tweets that we have taken. Let's hear again from Abdullahi Saroke. Abdullahi Saroke, in terms, of course, there's no doubt about it. You've spoken from the point of view of an operator and the additional cost that this might mean to you. What are the cost centers that the domestic airlines, were looking at before reaching the decision to scale back on their operations in and out of Kaduna Airport? What are the major cost centers? Who will pay for the movement of your staff, for instance, the accommodation, feeding, and so on and so forth for 6 weeks?
That's the point I was making before, that the government has to come for intervention. Because when it happened during September 11 attack in the United States of America, most of the American carriers were given an incentive. The same thing when it happened in Europe during the volcanic ash eruption. So most of the UK carriers were given incentive. So if domestic airline in Nigeria are asking for the same thing in this scenario, I don't think we've asked for too big, because we are going to move our equipment. All the domestic airlines have all agreed to move their equipment down to Kaduna. move their staff down to Kaduna, then it's going to be a cost on the airline. The government have not shown enough incentive on what we stand to benefit, because we are moving from our comfort zone to discomfort zone.
What do you mean discomforting zone? Because so many things have been put in place, so we're told.
Why I put the discomfort zone? 65% of domestic operation happen between Lagos and Abuja, all over Nigeria. So if we are to move, if we are to shut down Abuja and we now relocate to Kaduna, so like I've talked before, you won't be able to operate Kaduna to Kano conveniently. You won't be able to operate Kaduna to Asaba and the rest of Southeast and part of South conveniently. And this is where the airline gets their money from.
All right, Abdullahi Saroke, manager with Asma Airlines, would like to thank you for being part of our discussion this morning. And just before we sign you off, what information do you have as to the effective hour of the closure of the Abuja airport? Is it will it fair from midnight or 7 a.m. or you still have 1 or 2 flights to run, and then when?
From the information available to us, on the 8th of March, Abuja will be shut down.
From what time on the 8th? 1 a.m. or 12 midnight?
I don't have that information, but I know definitely on the 8th of March, you won't be able to operate into Abuja and out of Abuja.
All right, Saroke Abdullahi, thank you very much for being part of our discussion. And just to return to the Comptroller General of Immigration, any information as to the effective hour of the closure on the 8th of March, which is next week?
8th of March, technically after 12 midnight is 8th of March. Yes. So that's it.
Okay. Captain Georgie, any information on that?
From the NOTAM, notice to all airmen, already, which I have a copy, you say the closure on the 8th of March, normally it's at 12 midnight, 000 hours. 000 when you move, and then it will close from 8th of March 2017 to 19th of April 2017. So the closure is 000 hours from 12 midnight. That's what the airport will close.
All right, thank you very much. Let's also go over to Captain Omale. Captain Omale, once again, your optimism is infectious. You are upbeat about what's going on in and around Kaduna. Are there any 1 or 2 other issues that you will also see addressed in this whole effort to spruce up Kaduna and its airport?
Well, nobody can predict what will happen, but since the government said on the 8th of March, that is a tentative date. I don't think it is firm. I believe if Kaduna is not ready, they might not close the airport on the 8th. And I'm sure government will amply inform Nigerians at the time. But for now, it seems that they are on course and they might be able to meet the target. But if they're not going to meet the target and there's a week delay, 2 weeks, whatever, they should be able to inform Nigerians on time. And of course, the airline operators.
Captain Dan Omale, aviation expert, joined us via Skype from Kaduna. Thank you very much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, we also like to thank Captain Mohammed Joji, Chairman Coordinating Committee at Abuja Kaduna Airport Movement, and also Secretary General Airport Operators of Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I also would like to thank the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede. Thank you very much. It was great having you on the program.
Thank you.
And of course, the manager, Asman Airline, Abuja Saroki Abdullahi Abu. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Good Morning Nigeria. At this point, let's take this break to bring some messages, and we'll be on the last lap of the program.
I come to you in the name of money.
There is mega fortune in town. Easy money to be made. Everyone wants to get paid. And so the scheming, the intrigues in Make Money Miss.
If you bring that 300 beer, if you just wait for 15 days, you know how much go enter? 90 B.
Unbelievable! This week's edition of your award-winning comedy and social satire series from Mr. John Boone, featuring the biggest, the best, and the most hilarious stars in Nigerian entertainment.
Now, why you on the name of your own business, I be like a winch name. Asuzu.
And showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network, International, and Star Times.
Sir, the small money that I used to give to you to hold for me.
Oh, yes.
I need it.
Give me 30 minutes.
Prof, I'm less busy. I'm not doing anything. I can actually wait here for 30 minutes.
Professor John Boone is about to unleash.
Over and out.
Brought to you by
by Glow. Welcome to the new speed of life.
I discovered something that took all my period worries away. New and improved Always Ultra has a comfortable top layer, an extra super gel for extra super absorbency. No stain, no check, because gel won't sleep.
Happy always.
Hey, Coca-Cola?
Oh, you're in luck. It's happy hour. So, you want a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
All right, let's go over now to our sports desk for stories in the world of sports.
Operation to border protection. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull made the announcement alongside Indonesian President Joko Widodo. Both leaders also stressed on the importance of resolving their disputes peacefully.
Freedom and the rule of law and a rules-based international order for the region to prosper. Dan hubungan yang baik serta kokoh tentunya dapat tercipta jika kedua.
In Russia, thousands of Russians marched in memory of Boris Nemtsov, an opposition leader murdered 2 years ago, calling for further investigations into his killings. Aged 55, Nemtsov, a former deputy prime minister, became an outspoken critic of longtime President Vladimir Putin, who was shot in February 2015 while walking across a bridge a short distance from the Kremlin. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, investigation is still on following the death of the half-brother of North Korean's leader Kim Jong-nam. Malaysia's health minister says an autopsy revealed that Kim Jong-nam was given a high amount of toxic nerve agent VX and died 20 minutes after at the Kuala Lumpur airport. VX is classified as a weapon of destruction by the United Nations. A drop on the skin can kill in minutes after exposure or even inhaled. Garba Muhammad Natala with the foreign scene.
All right, we'll go over now to the weather center to check out the prospects for the rest of today.
Thank you for joining us on the weather segment. I'm Adedolu Adamnola. The level of discomfort is expected to be high in the southern cities as a result of increase in temperature that's been recorded in the region over the past 1 week. We advise people living in this region to drink more water to stay hydrated, wear lighter clothes, and of course stay in well-ventilated areas. Now to the forecast. We expect sunny and hazy conditions to prevail over the northern part of the country down to the central states. And for the southern cities, we expect them to be caught under cloudy conditions with some sunshine intervals. And as we move into the day, with enough insolation, we expect this to give rise to localized thunderstorms over the coastal part of the country. And for temperature details, please do stand by. And thank you for watching.
That's our program. We hope you find time to join us again tomorrow. My name is Blessing Abu. Bye for now.
We also appreciate you being with us today and have the very best of the rest of today. I'm Kingsley Osatolo.